God has a way of taking normal and twisting it for his behalf when you're willing to listen. He was also talking about not getting too far ahead of yourself. And we talk about being distracted. The point there, the comedian Michael Jr. had made in past when he did his comedic episodes, he was already seven ideas or 7 jokes ahead from the moment he was initiating the first joke, trying to determine how the audience was responding. He then learned about the Holy Spirit and actually taking a pause, which is another thing we talk about when you're angered or distracted, always stopping, taking that pause, asking for God's wisdom. And so in those moments, his comedic episode or his comedic stage presence changed dramatically from a typical comedy act that you have seen, we've all seen, to actually bringing God and the Holy Spirit and the giftings to someone even in the audience, which he talked about, helping someone in need. Someone had needed just a simple nurse caregiver so that the family could actually take a vacation that they hadn't taken in like 7 years. And someone stood up in the audience and offered their talent and their gifting. So it's interesting to see someone listening to the Holy Spirit and changing what would be considered in the worldly eyes as the quote unquote normal way of doing things. And God has a way of taking normal and twisting it for his behalf when you're willing to listen. But if you drive through and someone blesses you and gifts you, which I think is a neat thing to do, but can you accept is where I'm going. And I know I've had struggles with that. Someone wants to bless you and you struggle to receive it. And you got to really dial in and think about why you're having that struggle. And the passing is passing the buck, the Starbucks. But if someone blesses you and that Starbucks coffee is now not $2, but $6, are you going to pass that on to the person behind you for the wrong reasons though? Are you blessing the person behind you? Or you just really didn't accept the gift that someone tried to give you? Right. And in Michael Jr.'s case, he didn't pass it back down and he drove off with the free coffee. And I understood the way he said it, meaning he accepted the blessing that someone in front of him was affording him and took it with conviction and acceptance and with worthiness as a blessing from that person and a blessing from the Lord. So there's a couple things about pausing, really listening to the Holy Spirit, and even gifting someone behind you. You do that when you feel compelled, but compelled through the Holy Spirit, not in your own strength, in your own mindset, in your own way. And many times expecting something back, or maybe you just want to feel good about yourself because you're having a kind of day that you want to do something that's kind, but the reason that you're doing it is really self-fulfilling, coming back to selfishness. So it's an interesting thing to think about how we act and behave in our society